So let's look at the cards right quick. Okay, so do you sort of know the general way that the deck plays?
Yeah, yeah. So I've played probably a dozen or so games on this one.
All right,
So
that's great.
not well by any stretch, but
So you know sort of like the late game combo and how you get there.
yeah, yeah. I found like I was just burning. I was just ending up out of gas pretty quickly. I think I'm used to the more aggro play style.
Interesting. Okay, so the important thing to remember is that a couple things. So of course you have the They Who Endure atrocity combo, which is amazing. The
Yeah,
important thing to keep in mind about this deck is that the reason that it's so strong is that its early game plays are formidable. It can, go toe to toe with aggro decks. Meanwhile, it has a late game combo that will, you know,
really strong.
basically like blow people out of the water, even if they've, put up a fight in the early game.
Gotcha.
So, so the other thing to remember is that Neverglade Collector is another win condition. So it's oh yeah. So Neverglade Collector allows you to basically spend your tokens and just do damage to your
And get some help.
opponent's Nexus, which is such a powerful ability, especially with the drain effect and everything. So you said that your main problem was that you were running out of gas.
Yeah, it seemed like I was running out of cards mid game, and then yeah, couldn't really then get the combos,
That
which
makes
I'm sure I
sense.
wasn't playing it control enough maybe.
Well, this version of the list runs 3 Glimpse Beyonds and 3 Avarosan Sentries, and I noticed that yours wasn't doing that. This
Ah,
should allow you a lot more card draw. The other thing is that Callisto will most likely revive Avarosan Sentry, assuming you haven't gotten a Cursed Keeper killed yet, and gotten that 4/3 token, which would be the second biggest, or the biggest thing if you manage to kill that instead. So Callista can actually end up drawing you more once she's leveled. And of course, Haunted Relic is useful for the Neverglade package and sometimes for leveling Callista for tempo.
gotcha.
So anyway, let's just get into a game. I want to spend the rest of the time just kind of like working on this deck, even maybe changing some of the cards to your liking. And just kind of just make sure that you have the tools to get to masters, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Uh,
Uh, what are we typically mulliganing for in some of the various matchups, or is there one that we always want to shoot for?
Great question. So yeah, Omen Hawk is always fine. I would say the main problem with mulliganing is figuring out what you should do with Cursed Keeper. So you have Ravenous Butcher is an enabler for Cursed Keeper, where you have this tempo play on 2 mana, where maybe you Bark Beast on 1, Cursed Keeper on 2, Ravenous Butcher on 2. If you're attacking, you have a fucking like 3/2, 4/3, like it's insane. So of course, if that combo works out, it's great. But the reason there's only one Ravenous Butcher in the deck is because it's terrible if you don't have Cursed Keeper in your hand. So with Cursed Keeper, it's great to have one in your hand, but I would say generally you don't necessarily want more than one. And then you want one activator, and the activators in this deck are Ravenous Butcher and Blighted Caretaker. You'll see it down below. So Blighted Caretaker is the other one, which is also a super valuable tempo play. And then so generally you want to be looking for Omen Hawk, Hapless Aristocrat, Bark Beast as like your 1 drops. Of course you want a good tempo, so you want one of those in your hand. But you also want a Cursed Keeper and maybe an Elise and or maybe a Blighted Caretaker if you have the Cursed Keeper already. The mulligans don't necessarily change too much. Your win condition does, but your strategy kind of stays the same.
Okay.
The one other thing I want to mention, so just in case it wasn't clear, you should only keep something like Blighted Caretaker if you have a Curse Keeper in your hand, and that's the same for Ravenous Butcher. So last,
To keep
oh, what?
the Curse Keeper if I've got a Ravenous or a.
Other way around. Other way around. So Cursed Keeper is good, no matter what, because you'll have ways to sacrifice it. But you only want to keep Ravenous Butcher or Blighted Caretaker if you have a Cursed Keeper in your hand.
Okay.
So that's just a general mulligan strategy. It's, Blighted Caretaker isn't necessarily like a dead draw if you draw it later, but it's not good in your starting hand unless you have Cursed Keeper. So the last thing is Glimpse Beyond. So do you know how the stack works in the middle?
Where you see the distribution?
No. Like the stack of spells. When you play a spell, it goes onto the stack. Slow speed spells always have to start the stack. Yeah.
I got that.
So the important thing to know about Glimpse Beyond is that it should really only be used in reaction to your opponent trying to remove one of your minions. Let's say your opponent goes in for a Mystic Shot on an already damaged Callista, right? That's the perfect time to use Glimpse Beyond, because basically they've already committed the Mystic Shot, and your Glimpse Beyond gets you the valuable draw on a minion that would have died anyway.
Okay.
Oh, say that again?
Oh, and yeah, so then it's going to cancel theirs with the minion dead.
Exactly. And so, it does the canceling doesn't quite matter unless you're like playing against Ezreal, or if you're playing against Shadow Isles and they use a drain effect that would heal them. But what does matter is that the minion was going to die anyway, and you got the draw off of it.
Got some more value off of it.
So you should basically, a huge amount of the time you should be using Glimpse Beyond reactively, but proactive Glimpse Beyonds are possible. You just have to know the right circumstances. Like, is your opponent tapped out of mana? Are you in a position where you are forced to Glimpse Beyond proactively, or else you'll lose? Like that kind of thing.
Is there a pretty big difference?
I would say the main difficulty gap is like in 3 and 4 it's a little easier. In 1 and 2 it gets very competitive.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mulligan here is pretty important. Let's look at his deck. So he's playing Ezreal Twisted Fate, which is a huge removal heavy 1 damage ping deck. As a result of that, keeping Glimpse Beyond isn't necessarily the worst idea, except that we don't have any 1 or 2 drops. We definitely want to kick They Who Endure, which is good. We also definitely want to kick Vile Feast. Oh, no. Vile Feast. Oh, no. That's fine. We can figure it out. So, we got a really weird draw here with the triple Callista. So we're going to have to play this match a little more slowly, but they're also going to be playing slowly, which is good. So let's play Hapless Aristocrat. That's good. Just getting something onto the field. We're also going to need something to die for Callista. Okay, so the question is, if we play Callista here, what might she die to? And the answer is double Mystic Shot or Get Excited. He doesn't have anything on the field, so it doesn't make sense to Blighted Caretaker. We have 3 Callistas, so we have to play a Callista. Does that sort of make sense? Like,
Yeah, totally does.
So,
Burning Shot. This is going to be a pirate.
Okay, so that's great. We got out a Thermo Beam. It would have honestly been really good to have Glimpse Beyond here, but we didn't know we were going to get 3 Callistas in our hand. We kind of whiffed a bit because we didn't get really any of our early game units except for Callista. But little does he know we have 2 more Callistas. So of course he's tapped out a mana. We have an easy attack here, but there's only one damage.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've been looking at your opponent's mana a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I'm used to teaching like newer players. So you clearly have like the understanding, of like how all this works. So you can just end around here. There's there's nothing else we would.
So there's really not any situation with Val Feast unless we had the spider name.
Elise.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. So I honestly think we play another Callista here and just let him remove it. We just kind of need to keep this game going. Okay, all right. So now this is interesting. Let's attack with everything. Okay. All right. So I wanna show you what I'm thinking right now. So why did he do that?
I'm looking at his cards to see if he's got anything that can use the keg.
So he might be running Mystic Shot. If that's the case, then we're gonna want to Vile Feast the Powder Keg, but not right now. We're gonna pass back to him.
Because the Vile Feast is that. Okay. So
Yeah. Pass it back.
So we would butcher the aristocrat yet. Wait for it to
We would, yeah. We wouldn't do that yet. This is a perfect time to do it. So, I would Bark Beast here. I would Bark Beast. We're hoping that he goes for like a Mystic Shot on. Okay, interesting. So he gets rid of the keg here. There's not anything we would do because he's dealing 2 damage. But here's something interesting. Let's Vile Feast our own Hapless Aristocrat. So what is that going to do? The Hapless Aristocrat is going to die anyway, but it'll save the Bark Beast.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that combo.
Basically, this is all just about knowing how all these interactions would work in theory.
So if I were to Vile Feast a Powder Keg, I guess they only have 1 health anyway. Okay.
Exactly, that's sort of the issue. And if he has to use another removal here, oh wow, that was very lucky. That was very, very lucky. Okay, so let's see. Interesting. I think we might just be fine with that. He had to use 2 Make It Rains, which is kind of the thing that we're scared of because we have so many tokens. So we just have a good attack here in general, and we get a spider. Yeah. So that's fine. So let's just attack in here, or actually, no, wait. I have a better idea. Let's because we know that he's used all of his Make It Rains, we're gonna want a Blighted Caretaker, I think, on the 1/1, because then we level up our Callista, and he's tapped under TF, which is important because TF can deal 1 damage to everything. I don't think we're gonna get a better Blighted Caretaker than this.
Oh, Twisted Fate, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is great. So we're dealing a lot of damage here, and then we just attack in with everything.
The ordering of the cards doesn't really matter here.
It shouldn't matter, no.
Okay. If he's got 3, doesn't look like anything.
It's great that you're thinking about that, though. Not exactly. It really only has. You can end round here, by the way. So do you know how Callista works? It revives the strongest.
Yeah, so it's gonna pull the strongest ephemeral back out.
No. It's not gonna revive the strongest ephemeral. It's gonna revive the strongest unit, as of.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
So I think we have a great Neverglade Collector here. I really like this. So we're threatening a lot. Okay, he's passing back to us. Honestly, on 5 mana, I don't think he could do much, especially because he used both of his Make It Rains. So let's Ravenous Butcher the 1/1.
Static. Yeah, not much on static shock. Okay. Ravenous
Oh yeah,
Butcher.
yeah. No, you're right. Static Shock is an important consideration, and honestly, this playing Ravenous Butcher here protects against Static Shock.
Gotcha. Okay. So on the spider.
Yeah, perfect.
Nice.
Oh, alrighty. Well, as you can see, so that was a great example of how of two things. First of all, Ezreal TF is a very late game comp, so we were playing very aggressively to sort of counteract the fact that his deck takes a long time to get ready. The other thing is, Neverglade Collector there served as a secondary win condition because were he to keep playing it out, were he to have a few more answers, he would have found himself needing to deal with this Neverglade Collector that has 4 health and is on the field and will threaten lethal at any time, right?
Gotcha.
So that was a great game.